Alright everyone, welcome along. Day 6, 0 to hero. So we went through, haven't we, so far, and we've looked at really how you build that table and the whole structures that you need to go through in that ETL process. So how do you extract your data, how do you transform your data and loading it. What we haven't really touched on yet is kind of what happens after that. So we started yesterday, didn't we? And we had a look at the theories that went into what a data model is and that kind of thing. So that you get your tables, you extract them through, and then you build a data model from them. And then lastly, you'll build the visualization layer. So let's look at some of the practical sides of the data model. So here we are, my Power BI home screen. This is what I get to see. This is what everyone has kind of as their home page. So I thought, let's have a look. One of the things I wanted to show you was kind of what goes on here in this workspace. So we've got a data model workspace here. Okay, and if I switch the view into the structured view of it, you can see the hierarchy that goes on in making it. Okay, so in the middle here, we've got the data model that we've got, data set, right? So data set is what it's called in Power BI. We mean a data model. Data set, data model, whatever you want to use it, interchangeable term in Power BI. So if we have a look in at the details of it, we can see that there's a number of reports that are coming off this. So this data set is producing multiple reports, okay? So we've got the idea of something comes in and then out comes the other side. Yeah, brilliant. Excellent, yeah? If we come back, you see we've got here, okay? So we've got all these areas. We've got 9 regions and we've got a couple of other things like calendar and score descriptions, okay? And these are the ETL components. And if you remember yesterday, we talked through kind of what this meant. So if we have a look at one being in Newcastle, let's look at the Northeast. Okay, go through, here's the Northeast data flow, right? What you can see, right, is there's one table, right? So we've got a single table that's been created as part of this ETL script. And if you remember what I said in day 5's video was around how many tables you have in a script is up to you. It's going to depend on your use case, your requirements, and what you determine is right for your business and for your use case. So in this case, because of what we were doing with this series of videos, and I'll put a link to the series of videos down below, right, it actually worked out more efficient to use one data flow per table, which is per region. And that's because it's doing a web scrape from a public data source. And what you can sometimes find is if you do too many web scrapes all at once, you trigger a denial of service attack rejection. And it just shuts the shutters and says, nah, not happening. Okay? So you kind of space it around, spread it up, off you go. Okay? Now, it is possible within Power BI's data flows and with the whole Power Platform to use Power Automate to trigger future flows. So we could say, right, we're going to have this data flow run first, and then based on what happens with it, if it's successful or fails, do something else. And you can put counters in there as well. If you want me to show you how that works and how we do some of the more stuff with Power Platform, please let me know in the comments down below. I don't know. Do you care about Power Platform? Is it something you want to hear more about? Let us know. We can do some videos about it. So in this case, we've got Northeast, and we can choose to go in, say I want to edit it, show me the details of it. So we've got one table, and if I click to edit the tables, you can see that we've got our ETL script. So our extract, transform, and load script here. Yeah. So the structures that are here, and remember, it looks like it goes that way, but in essence, it goes that way. Yeah, always, it's a strange thing with them to remember, but remember it, learn it. Okay, so we've got our ETL script where we know the applied steps are going to go in, and that's going to result in one or more tables. And in this case, it's one table that we get. Okay, hit cancel on there and come back out because of the gotcha with Power BI data flows, which is Power BI data flows are a recipe builder, right? You are producing a script for how to process and build me a table of data. When you save it, well, you've saved a script. Well done, champion lad. You can write down my instructions. And in that way, it's very much the same, isn't it? If you went and got the recipe for your grandma's apple pie, right? She might write it down. Oh, there you go, dearie. Oh. Yeah. Great, I've got a recipe written on the back of my hand, in front of my hand. Who writes on the back of the hand? Right, written on my hand. That's not an apple pie, right? I still have to go home, do whatever it is that gans into my grand's apple pie before I've got an apple pie. That's the same with these data flows. Until they refresh, you ain't got nothing. So it's a common thing I see. One of the first things I always hear people when they first start with data flows, oh, I built this brilliant data flow, right? It's dead good, but when I tried to connect to it, I couldn't. I could find it, but there was nothing there. Did you refresh it? Okay, remember that. If you go and edit them, save it, it clears it until it's refreshed again. So don't save unless you mean to, right? Little things. So we've got that done. That's awesome. Okay, I've come back to my home. You can see I've got my data model here. We can check in the data model and we can see these are where the things go, right? So the main one we've got is the free report, right? Really useful, really simple, dead easy for people to see nationally what's going on with food hygiene across the country. And if we were to pick the Northeast and drill into Newcastle, right, we'd get information about every single restaurant and takeaway in Newcastle and the average of them. Okay, brilliant, perfect report. That's just what I wanted to see. But that's not all we could see, is it? So one of the things we were talked about is the idea that your data set becomes that master source of information across your business. So we looked at one of the things here, hygiene over time. And this was just a little exploration kind of thing. And one of the things I was wondering was around, well, it's not wondering, it's trying to ascertain, and this is the first step of it. Now, if you do well in your food hygiene, you won't be inspected again. So there's something about, I think there's something in my mind about looking at duration since last inspection by score and things like that. And with it being an ongoing thing, and don't forget, I wrote this over a year ago now, and it's still tracking. It's been running quite happily. We're now in, nearly halfway through 2022, and it's still up to date. Still refreshes every day, still runs. This is great. It's just what you need. But suddenly I've got a different use case. I've gone from the idea of saying, oh, well, where can I go to get some bait? Like this one, right? Here, like, oh, I'm in Newcastle today. Where can we go? Let's see, we're in central Newcastle area. Oh, what's that? Oh, brilliant, that's the Wylam Brewery. Let's go there, have a great meal. Fantastic, right? That's what I want to do. So this is an informational report, isn't it? I could look and see, where do I want to go? Where is the for me to be? I'm at Geordie Consultant today, right? Where they are. You're going to let me find us. We're there, so let's have a look. We've got 3 restaurants nearby. Are they any good? Excellent. Champion. Like, that's the kind of thing that you want to do, isn't it? Great. Whereas if we went back here and had a look at this hygiene over time, I hope you can see it's a different use case altogether, isn't it? It's like a different, we want to analyze really what's happening with the trending over time. So we've at this beginning point looking at it over each year, year over year. And there is a trend, a downward trend in food hygiene, which is amazing. I find that staggering. So you can see from that first, is this worth doing? We've got, and this is going to lead to more analysis, and we can take a deeper dive into this at a future step. And it was part of the plan that I had for the other series. Never went that way, but we will do it in this. There's the other things that we've got as well. So one of the things is potentially going to look and say, well, what goes into giving you a good score? So what are the influencers? What are the key influencers? So we put in some things around key influencer visuals. So we could actually start to investigate the data, and then we could look and see, well, if we looked at County Durham, what triggers, what are the core influences for something that's getting a high rating or a rating of 5? And we could see the likelihoods or the challenges to that. Is there any segmentation in the areas that are likely to help them be 5 or be different? So suddenly you've gone from an informational report to different styles of analysis that you can do, but all from that same central standardized data set. And that's what enterprise analytics is. And that's where the value will really start to come through from your Power BI environment. So what I'll do, don't forget, put the link to the report pack, the informational one. So if you're in England, you can go and look and see, where should we eat our food, right? If you're overseas, when you come to England, you'll know, click on the link, find somewhere to eat, right? Awesome. We'll go in and we'll have a look at writing these reports, getting the measures written to make it more valuable for you. Okay? But you can see it all flows from the same fundamental data set. And that is the secret. So what do you reckon then? Does it make sense? As you start to understand more about the phases that go into your development cycles between initial ETL scripting, so getting that raw data pulled through, doing the transformations to become structured tables of data, and then you move on to that next stage of saying, right, we've now got all our tables, let's build those into a data model using Kimball schema style, using the Kimball schema, so facts and dimensions. And then you start to get into what visualizations are we going to do. Now, before we get into the what visualizations are we going to do, you need to be already thinking about what visualizations you're going to do, because that will influence your modeling, and that should also influence part of the ETL scripting. Like, you shouldn't be just randomly picking data out of thin air and going, I need this, I need the, right? Think, okay? So it should always come from what's the end goal that we're looking at, what are we looking at having produced here? And then how do we bring that back through a data model, through to the tables of data that need to come through to make that work? So I hope all of that makes sense. I hope you're not going, not convinced by that, right? But yeah, it's all good. It'll all make sense, honestly. It's all important. So have a great weekend. Stay safe. Take care. Ta-da.